You see, we're live streaming up to whoever was saying that the soul team was the team that counted. That you weren't wording it that way, but that was what you were saying.
That's true.
The soul team comes and goes, and they have really a low level of integrity.
That is true.
And the really scary thing is that these are the souls that have the highest levels of integrity, because we continually sift and sort and bifurcate and tweak, looking for the best
True.
levels of integrity to work with, the souls with the best levels. And this is it. It's really appalling. It's appalling.
That's true.
But now, in order to manifest the divine plan, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do. What now? What would integrity do now in order to manifest the divine plan, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do?
That's the right question.
Yeah.
Well,
We get those children out of here.
Yeah.
They're referring to that client session several years ago where the past life of the client was saying, this is the day I die, but before I do, I'm getting those kids out of that burning building.
That's true.
So to just have that attitude of, you know what, we might not be successful in this effort, but before I go, I'm going to get these kids out of that burning building. And what they choose to do when they grow up is their choice, and we assume they're all going to make a poor choice, because why would they be different than everybody else?
That's true. Drawing lost children from the smaller subatomic into the approach tunnel of the Search for Truth pillar.
And even just through us, just shoot them straight on up.
True.
Just shoot them straight on up. And maybe to them it'll be like a near-death experience of, I went through the tunnel of light and I met God and then I came back. It's possible.
That
We
could
don't
be
know.
what that feels like.
That's right.
I don't know.
I don't know.
What I do know is I can feel them shooting up through us.
Right, just shoot them up as high as we can get them. Shoot the children up into the workplaces, right? Okay.
Let's try that. To clarify, what we've been doing is shooting up lives from the smaller subatomic into workplaces on
Of adults who should be
higher,
taking responsible action.
That's true, on geographically higher dimensional levels. And now what we're going to try to do is shoot up the suffering children themselves out of the smaller subatomic and into the workplaces of adults who should be taking action in geographically higher levels. Shoot up the children themselves.
Who are subatomic particles, so they're electrons or quarks or whatever, and so poof, up go the electrons who are suffering into the bodies of the presences who are supposed to be taking action to resolve the situation.
That's true.
And maybe they'll have a wake-up moment of saying, oh my goodness, I need to do something different. This is wrong. This must change. I'm going to do something.
So what we're doing is working as the conduit for the subatomic particles to move through so they can reach larger dimensional levels.
Yes. And what's being highlighted to me is the importance of keeping both the immediate situation in mind and the larger goal. What are we working to do? Manifest the divine plan.
That's true.
It isn't going to happen without a divine delivery system.
That's true.
It isn't going to happen without a working divine delivery system. What is a divine delivery system? It's a delivery system that consistently delivers significantly higher vibrations into a space. It also isn't going to work without reaching down to truth that propels all of us forward on our soul plan.
That's true.
In the overnight, there was something coming up. It was an interesting dream that was clearly about the pillar and about people at various levels of the pillar moving back and forth toward truth and away from it, and how it was destabilizing. And at the bottom, there was a horse.
That's true.
And I don't know what that horse represents, and I've been working with it for a while.
At the bottom there was a horse. Well, one thing I know is that for a period of time Pan was appearing as a horse.
I had that thought, and Pan was coming up in the work yesterday.
That's true. How Pan had gone back into time in order to change himself for the better in the present.
Well, and he had used the stabilizing through time techniques,
That's
and
true.
this is one of the many things that are being beamed into our pillar, is what we need to do is stop right now and take 14 hours to review the core curriculum,
Right.
or 30 hours, or 50 hours, or 70 hours, and we also need to right now get the entire house ready for a photo shoot in
That's
less
true.
than 2 weeks, and we also need to right now do all these other things, and they
That's
don't
true.
all fit into the same work plan.
No, that's true.
The misdirection is a huge problem.
Live streaming up
Live streaming up.
to the videographers.
Is there a higher vibration?
One
Yeah.
of the probes said yes.
Is it on the midline?
One of the probes is saying that she knows she has a lot of wishful thinking about where things are in relation to the midline, and so she's not 100% sure that it's actually on the midline. And
But, on the other hand, here in the 3D, line 2, which doesn't exist, has
That's
been
true.
coming on.
today is Monday, April 25th, and it's towards the end of the day, and we just noticed that our phones are telling us that line 2 is in use, which would be a pretty normal thing, except that this house does not have a second phone line. No one is using the phone, and that phone line doesn't exist. But there it is, line 2, in use. Someone is on line 2.
Meaning, call from God. That's, what else would that mean?
That would be a
God
call from
calling.
God.
Yeah, God
That's
calling.
true. Someone is calling
On
a
line 2.
that isn't hooked up for people and bodies to use.
Right.
That's true.
God calling.
That's true.
All right, let's go
Okay.
for that, but don't go off the central axis.
That's true. No matter what.
No matter what.
No matter what.
God calling.
God calling.
Well, someone is calling
That's
who
true.
thinks that he or
Or
she is God.
That's true.
But the question, we've had so many of you friends come and
That's
go,
true.
come and go, and what we know is that we're still inundated with ill-informed misdirection.
That's true.
And so, so far it doesn't seem like God is actually calling.
No. Just people who can be helpful for a short period of time until they feel threatened, and then they become hazards on the course.
Well, and people who aren't helpful at all.
At all,
people
ever
who
even
have
starting.
good
That's true.
intentions and give poor advice because they're
That's
not
true.
aware of what's actually going on.
That's true.
And it's happening even in this session as we're starting, because they're talking about the souls and only the souls. It's this bigotry that exists in the non-physical.
That's true.
It's strong bigotry. What would integrity do right now in order to upgrade the standards of integrity to that which would actually work to manifest the divine plan?
Keep shooting up those lost children. That's what integrity would do right
Yeah.
now.
Not going to get hung up on what we
can't
do.
Do what
Do
we
what we
can
can do.
do.
Before I die, I'm going to get those kids out of that burning building. And what they do from there is on their nickel.
That's true.
Let's call in the kids from this level also.
That's true.
Because the young Luces and the other kids too, they get swooshed away by the
That's
currents. In all levels.
That's
Presence
true.
are getting
Swooshed
swooshed away
away.
by the currents.
That's true. Swooshed.